2. Now we're going to continue with experiment 3 and 4. So experiment number 3 is called the barren desert. The objective is to visually see the effects of friction on the skin. The dry skin of the onion, I use this onion right here, should tear and shed when inserted in and out of a long tube sock. Applying lotion should moisturize the onion skin, reduce friction, and help prevent skin tears. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the onion, but I want you to think when I'm utilizing the onion, I want you to think of an elder's fragile skin. And I want you to think of the sock I'm going to use as the bed linen. So I have a dry onion available right here. I'm going to try putting the dry onion in a long tube sock. And I want you to notice what happens to the onion skin while I do that. And after I put the onion through the sock, I'm going to turn the sock inside out. So here's my onion, and I'm going to put in my tube sock. And I'm just going to move it around. Typically, if you use an onion that has a lot of dry layers to it, this works the best. And if you have a sock that is kind of on the fuzzy side on the inside, so I'm not sure how well this is going to work, but we're going to give this a shot. Okay, so let's get the onion out. And, you know, I'm going to open the skin a little bit and see if this works a little better. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the inside of this sock. And you tell me if this reminds you of some of your elderly patients. Okay, well, I don't have a whole lot of onion skin, but there is a little bit right here. Oops. So think of this onion skin that's falling off my sock. Think of this onion skin as an elder person's skin, okay? Skin is very, very dry. And as you take the socks off, it's almost like dust flying in the air. There's so much dry skin and flaky skin coming off of their socks when you take their socks off at night. So how can we fix that? What can we do as nurses about their dry skin? Well, let's see what happens to that same onion if we put some lotion on it. So I'm going to put some lotion on my onion. I'm going to spread it around. I'm going to take a brand new sock. Grab a towel. Let's put that into this new sock and see what kind of reaction we get from it. I'm going to take the onion out. Now, what do you think is going to happen? Now, ignore the lotion that's gone all over the sock. Do you see any onion peels in the sock? Not a one. Okay? Okay. So what happened when I applied the lotion? There's not a bit of onion skin there at all. So the idea that I want you to take from this experiment is the importance of moisturizer in good skincare. That's part of our job as nurses and as CNAs and as healthcare workers. In order to prevent any further damage to their skin, we need to apply lotion. And when we apply lotion, the other thing we need to be careful of, to be mindful of, is to make sure that we're not using vigorous massage over bony prominences or reddened areas, because that could actually cause a pressure ulcer to begin. So that is experiment number 3. Now let's move on to experiment number 4, and it's called Fragile, Handle with Care. All right, this time, rather than an onion, we're going to be dealing with a tomato, a very ripe tomato. Okay, now if you can do this experiment easily at home as well. If you don't have a very ripe tomato, you can use it on tissue paper, very thin tissue paper, or you can use a paper towel. They work just as well. So the objective is we're going to pull off the skin of an overripe, thin-skinned tomato, and doing so, we're trying to replicate how easy fragile skin can tear, especially an elder's skin. Their skin, as we age, loses its adipose tissue. And so the skin becomes much, much thinner, almost like paper. So when we apply tape to it for dressing, for instance, we have to be very careful in how we remove that tape, because we can actually be responsible for causing very big skin tears, and it takes a very long time for that to heal. So we don't want to be causing harm. So, we're hoping that this experiment will help you remember that. So what I'm going to try and do, hopefully my tomato is ripe enough. I'm going to use some silk tape over my tomato, and I'm going to show you what can happen to skin if you're not being careful, if you're to remove it. So I'm going to be very rough in taking the tape off to demonstrate what happens to skin. So I've got my silk tape here. And, oh yeah, my tomato is fairly ripe. I'm going to put some tape right across this ripe tomato. And just smoothing it down. And I'm going to be rough about taking this tape off. Ah, it didn't work. It's not ripe enough. Okay, we're going to try it on paper towel, see if that works. So I have a piece of paper towel. I'm going to put a couple of pieces of tape on my paper towel. And I'm going to be rough about removing it. Ready? Here we go. Wow, I ripped this paper towel right in half. So imagine that's somebody's skin. I tore it to shreds. So we just really need to be careful about how we remove a tape. It doesn't hurt to leave a little tail on the end of our tape. We can just turn it over at the end, and it makes it a little bit easier for us to remove that tape when we're going to take a dressing off. And you need to support the skin. As you take your tape off, you want to just support the skin underneath and move along with the removal of the tape. And you'll find that that will help prevent some of the skin tears that we're causing. Okay. Remember, harsh movement or pulling can create a skin tear. Residents can wear long sleeves and pants to add a layer of protection. We do put on sleeves, and there are I don't know what you call them. They're like footless tights almost, for lack of a better word, that you can put on the lower legs as well, that can protect elder skin from skin tears. We want to provide a well-lit environment to reduce the risk of residents bumping into equipment or furniture as well. They can also result in skin tears. The other thing that can happen is we have to be careful of the jewelry that we wear, especially women who wear their engagement rings with the diamonds. Oftentimes those diamonds will be responsible for causing skin tears as we turn and reposition our patients. So good rule of thumb, if you have jewelry that could potentially harm someone, you want to leave that stuff at home. And it's just a source of bacteria forming on your rings anyway. So if you can leave them at home, that's probably wise. And you're less likely to also lose your rings and also break them in the healthcare environment. I don't even wear my my wedding or engagement rings. I have flat rings that I wear. And even then, I would probably leave them at home to make sure that I'm not harboring any bacteria in between them. That's it for now. We're going to move on to, that was experiment 3 and 4. We're going to move on to 5 and 6 next.